Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
And you can find the key wherever. I think we're good. Yes, I'm just going to sit here.
Parents tune in online.
There's a link. That should have been on your itinerary, but is it not on this one?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, my name is Kiana Parks. I am one of the head graduate fellows of the Africana Summer Institute. Wow, I can hear myself echo through the live stream, so that's really interesting. Today we are live streaming our information session. This is something new and very exciting. But welcome to our on-site and live stream audiences to the 2018 Center for Africana Studies Summer Institute Parent Information Session. That's a mouthful. This year we have the opportunity to live stream this session with Dr. Camille Charles and our Parent Financial Aid Workshop, which will be led by Ms. Stephanie Brocklehurst. She's the Assistant Director of the Undergraduate Aid in Student Financial Services. So I just want to say how excited I am to have all of you here, parents and students alike. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know every one of you this week and throughout the coming school year. So I am going to turn it over to Daniel, who is going to share some very important information with you, and then you'll have the opportunity to meet all of our GFs who, if you have a mentor who's already reached out to you. And that's all I have to say for this moment. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Let me be the second to introduce you here. Welcome, class of 2022. Makes me feel old every time I say that. Congratulations and everything. Thanks for being here. We're really excited about having you here and the sort of discussion that we're going to have throughout the week. So just to give you a little bit of information about what this week is about. I'm going to speak a little bit about what the Center for Africana Studies expect to happen with regard to the Summer Institute. And then we're going to introduce the great graduate fellows that we have here. And then I'm going to be the bearer of bad news and just tell you a little bit about the rules that we're going to have throughout the week and what we'll expect from you, the expectations. So just to start off, like what the Institute is about and what we're expecting. So we're expecting a critical engagement with the subject of Africana Studies as it is broadly understood. As any of you, well, most of you should have read at least a good portion of your work by now. You realize that Africana Studies is an umbrella term that covers various disciplines and approaches to a subject of race or restoring the humanity of people of African descent, right? So you may, in the same day, be having a discussion about culture and race and music, and then go to a class and start having a discussion about race and religion, and then go to another class and have a discussion about say how people in slavery was trying to connect with their families, etc. Right? The subject is broadly construed, and we have various people from different trainings that's going to sort of get you to engage critically. I think the general expectation is just that everyone come prepared, everyone be eager to learn, and everyone works hard. That's like what we are expecting from everyone. We have no doubt that we will receive that. In the process, like, please use the graduate fellows. So everyone here that's going to speak about who they are and what they have done and just their background and training. I myself I'm a PhD student here in the philosophy department, as well as a certificate holder in Africana Studies, and I just finished a law degree. So I really take an interdisciplinary approach to learning, and everyone has different approaches to it. We all don't agree, but nevertheless, we approach the subject critically and engage with it. And the same expectation is for you. So you're going to have classes and you're going to have environments where you're just not going to agree with something that's said. And we expect you to speak about it. We don't expect you to be quiet on it. This is a humanities subject, so it's expected that you could bring in your personal experience to the discussion, right? The one anecdotal account isn't going to be everything, but we do expect you to have discussions about how your experiences, whether it's common or different, interacts with the subject matter that we're discussing. So all of that is fair game here. In addition, I should just note that this is a safe environment, so everyone should be prepared to grow intellectually. We don't expect you to master the subject over the next week, but we do expect you to have a good basis that could help you later on when you come here, right? So not just in the Africana Studies classes, but also classes that you would take in general, or the study skills and the way that you will learn, the tools that you will learn, how to behave in the classroom. During this week, we expect that this will carry on and assist you throughout your time at Penn. So that's like the general broad subject, and I'm just going to ask the GFs to come up here and just say something quickly about you know, who you are, where you're from, and your subject matter that you're studying. And then I'm going to list off the rules before we have Professor Charles give a speech. Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Elias Rodriguez. I am originally from Palm Coast, Florida. I am ABD in the English department.
Hi everyone, my name is John Villanova. I grew up on the Jersey Shore, and I'm in my 5th year in the communication department at the Annenberg School here, and I'm doing a graduate certificate in Africana Studies. Really happy to have you all here.
Hi, I'm Lizette Numa. I'm from Western Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, and I study education. I'm in my 4th year at the School of Ed.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Cartwright and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm entering my 2nd year in the sociology department here, and I'm happy to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Kiana Murphy and I'm a 4th year in the English department. I'm originally from Washington, D.C.
Hi everyone, my name is Jose Loya. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, and I'm a 5th year in the sociology department.
Howdy, I'm Joseph Washington. I'm a Toy Story fan. My name is Joseph Washington. I am a 2nd year in the philosophy department, and I'm originally from California.
Woo! Yes.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Dana Cypress. I'm a 5th year in the English department, and I'm from Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Hello, everyone. Y'all, come on. Yeah, the melanin is popping here, so we need to appreciate all of this, okay? My name is Eziaku, and I'm from Sacramento, California. So Cali people, who's from, I think we have like one. Oh, see, it's Violet. And I'm in Africana Studies, a 6th year, and yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Y'all's hair is done. I like this. I'm gonna talk to half of y'all.
Hi everyone, I'm Nora Gross. I'm from New York City, which I bet we have some people from. And I'm doing a PhD in education and sociology.
Hey everyone, my name is Tatiana. I am a regular degular girl from the Bronx. And I'm entering my 2nd year in Africana, and I'm really excited to meet you guys. So, hey.
So that's just sampled. I should just note that students, you're going to have a chance to dive more deeper into, you know, our interests and who we are as people later on, because we do have a GF introductory session. And so this isn't going to be the last time you speak to everyone here, and they'll be around all throughout the week. So with the couple minutes, I'm just going to run through some of the rules real quick. So we often like to say these rules now while the parents are in the room. So you won't say that you didn't know it existed, right? So both parents in the room and live streaming, these are the rules so no one can really get this excuse this year. So I'm just going to run through the rules real quick. So the first is just the boundaries, where you're expected to go. So the boundaries are from 33rd Street to 40th Street, going east to west, and from Walnut to Spruce, going north to south. And the expectation is just you stay within those boundaries at all time. When you're within those boundaries, you're expected to walk around with a student later on in the week, and within the first couple of days, you're expected to be accompanied by one of the GFs. This is just for now or until we say otherwise. And while you go around, you're expected to have your name tags on. So the name tags is partly for our benefit because you're new. We want to get to know you. We want to know your names, etc., and be able to identify you in the program. So just please, wherever you go, try to have the name tags on until giving further notice. GF should have every student's cell phone numbers. So if your GF doesn't have your cell phone number at this time, please try to make sure you give it to them during lunchtime. Make sure that your doors are locked in your room at all times to maintain protection of your property. Respect your neighbor. Don't play loud music. Everyone's going to be studying really hard. Please try to make sure that you're respectful of people around you in the dorms.
Yeah, we have 24-hour courtesy hours, which means like throughout the entire week, you just have to be mindful of how loud you are. I mean, there are lounges, and you can also use the rooftop lounge in the evening, so you can get a little rowdy in other places. But just be mindful, like when you're on the floor, that people might be sleeping or studying.
GFs have a open door policy, so feel free to reach out to them during anytime you need help with homework. You should also reach out to Kiana and I. We are here 24/7 throughout this week, so just we normally give our number at this time, but it's being live streamed, and I don't know if the internet is going to capture it, so I'll give everyone my number after this goes off. Other than that, curfew check-in is at 12 o'clock midnight every night, so you have to check in with your graduate fellow by midnight, and that's in person. No texting saying I'm in the room, because the whole point is to make sure you're actually here. So yeah, you have to check in with your graduate fellow by 12
and once you check in
a.m.
you can't leave back out. Like that is the
defeats the point.
Yeah. Okay.
Students preparation, everyone is expected to be prepared. Everyone is expected to be on time. We should note on time for us mean 10 minutes earlier. So everyone has a schedule that was in your student folder, and it has the times in which you're supposed to be at events. The expectation is that you're there 10 minutes earlier than the starting time that's on the schedule. So we really want to emphasize this. Timeliness is important because there's a lot of us, and there's a lot of people who have devoted a portion of their summer to spend time here and help us during this experiment of learning. So we really want to not take anything from them. So it's really important that we be on time for any event.
And Daniel mentioned, the buddy system, right? That's also very important because there are going to be times where you might oversleep or your roommate might oversleep, and so you all are responsible for making sure that each other is on time. Like if your roommate has their door closed and you don't know if they've gotten up, just take a second to knock before you get on that elevator to come downstairs and head to breakfast or get ready to go to class. So that is also expectation, that you realize that you're a community and you make sure that you're there to support your fellow students.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I will emphasize that we are a community, and it's for that reason. I mean, we're going to struggle throughout the week. We're all going to have that morning where, we're just a little slower getting up, and you all have roommates, so it should just be, give them a nudge. There's no way that you should be in class on time and your roommate is late when you're coming from the same room. It's just give that person a nudge and try to help them out, because this is going to be critical throughout the year when you actually come here to Penn. Some of your roommates are going to have similar classes, and you're going to want that courtesy to be able to rely on them if you are a little slower one day. And other than that, it's just generally just have fun, engage in the debate, respect everyone around you, and don't be on your cell phones during class or while someone is speaking. Just general things that you would be expected to do while you're here. And that's pretty much it. So,
well, I think there's one more really pretty major thing that we did not mention, and I feel like it probably goes without saying, but it needs to be said. This is a no drug or alcohol, zero tolerance. So, we do not expect to catch you with any of those items during this week. If that is the case, we immediately speak with Dr. Charles, and we have to make a decision about whether or not you are going to continue the week with us. So, if those are things that you already partake in, give it to your parents. Wait a week, or give it to your parents, and so just hold off for the week. All right.
Seriously, just give it to your parents. Like right now, like you will be in less trouble if you gave it to your parents now than if you get caught with it later, because you'll get in trouble by us and your parents anyway. So you might as well just give it to them now. But yeah, without further ado, it's time to introduce Professor Charles. Camille Charles is the Walter H. and Leonora C. Annenberg Professor in the Social Sciences. She's also a Professor of Sociology, Africana Studies and Education, and the Director of the Center for Africana Studies Summer Institute. And the reason why all of this is happening, she makes things happen. Professor Charles.
Goodness. It's tall. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, good. That's so nice. So I want to thank all of you for being here today, and I want to now thank the staff, all the way from the permanent staff who work in my office in the Center for Africana Studies, but also the graduate students who will be exhausted by the end of the week, just like you all will. Because they really give everything to make sure that you have a wonderful experience and that you get you get what you need in terms of assistance with understanding things going on in class, but also acclimating to the university and everything else. I also want to thank the undergraduates who were around this morning. I see Nadia over here now. For helping with move-in. So I want to point to them as an example of the way that we view community. So once you're in Africana, you're always in Africana. You may talk to us every day. You may never talk to us again, but you are part of the Africana family. And so that community around making sure that we're looking out for each other. We don't all have to be best friends, but we should have each other's backs. So yes, if you see somebody slacking, falling asleep when they need to be awake, nudge them. You guys are lucky I'm not teaching this summer, because when I teach and I see students falling asleep, I throw newspaper at them. So, help each other out. Alum of the Institute, I think this is our 32nd year. So this is the 32nd year of the Summer Institute for pre-freshmen. I believe this is my 12th year directing it. It is without a doubt, I think, the best thing that we do in the center. We've seen a lot of enhancements. So, you all know you are getting a half credit elective unit for completing this week. That was not always the case. We started out as a program of 30 to 35 students. We are now anywhere between 70 and 80, depending on the year. A lot of things have changed in terms of making sure that you all have mentoring and community as you move through the university. And so we are really thrilled to have you here. Africana Studies, a lot of the parents will already know, Africana Studies emerged out of the Black Studies movement in the late 60s and 70s. We made a conscious decision to use Africana because we really take a global approach. So we encompass everything, and I should say anything and everything emanating from Africa. So it is Africa and the diaspora. It is movement within the continent, but also outside of the continent. It is interdisciplinary. So we have sociologists, we have English professors, philosophers. We have affiliated faculty in nearly all of the schools in the university, so that whatever your research interests might be, or just your disciplinary interests, we can most likely hook you up with a faculty member who can provide assistance, or in many cases, research opportunities. So we are a really vibrant center. We take our mission quite seriously, which is really to understand humanity, but centering the experience of Africans and African-descended people. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. The students here will learn all about that over the course of the week. And as I said, most of the parents already have some understanding of that. We are, and I should also say, I want to welcome all of the parents and guardians and other kin, fictive or otherwise, who got their young adults here this morning, and then also everybody who is tuning in via our live stream. We'll be able to take questions from everybody. There are a few things that I want to talk about kind of the Institute, but also about college. My research over the last 15 years has really focused heavily on the experience of students at elite colleges and universities. And for the last several years, though I am finally almost finished, I've been writing a book on Black diversity. So I've been looking at what we are kind of thinking about as the Black professional middle class, or the new Black elite, and really looking at diversity within that population, whether it's about classification, students who identify as monoracial versus multiracial, whether it has to do with immigrant origins, not only generational, but also country of origin, social class background, high school experiences, all kinds of things and gender, to understand and really to push for institutions like the University of Pennsylvania that there is no one-size-fits-all experience, and that like any other category of students, different students need different things at different times under different circumstances. And so as we spend the week learning about the Black experience, and I use Black with a capital B because, again, I'm taking that global perspective, it's important to understand that my Black is not necessarily your Black, and that will be true for everybody here, and that we have a few folks here who are not Black at all, but they are intellectually curious, and you can't ask for anything better than that. And so it's really important when we start having some conversations that can get a little tense. They've gotten even more tense over the last 18 to 24 months. But it's really important that we remain open and interested in hearing each other out and engaging in those conversations, because a lot about our worldview and our beliefs change over the course of college. No one should expect that because you are Black, you understand race. It doesn't work like that. And the way that you might understand race today or yesterday or the middle of last week when that paper was due, it may not at all be the way you're thinking about it by Friday. And the way you're thinking about it Friday may not be the way that you're thinking about it 2 years from now or 5 years from now, right? But the important thing is that we want to provide tools and space to engage in those conversations and to really challenge sort of common perceptions of our country and of the world about how we got to where we are and where Black people fit into that understanding. And so that will be the big issue this week. You will also probably form some of your closest friendships. When we see people who did the Institute, I actually saw someone recently who did the very first Summer Institute. She was class of '87, and her best friend to this day is a woman that she met in the Institute. And we hear that all the time. So we get really excited about all of this and can't wait for you all to experience the week. And we think it's a great setup for your Penn experience. So there are a few things that I want to go over, and then I want to open it up for questions. And I don't have a watch or a phone up here, so somebody will just need to tell me before the hook comes out to take me out of here. So over the last few years, I've noticed sort of trends in the kinds of things that come up for students, and so I wanted to address a few of them here, both up front and during the week. And so while the parents are here, again, I want to talk a little bit about the addition of the Parent Financial Aid workshop that we have that will be for the parents after this session is over, because after this session is over, you have a few minutes to say goodbye, and then the students get to work. And we have a financial aid workshop, and that's really mainly so that you have some understanding. The students will have one later in the week, because what we find is that there can often be a lot of complication and confusion just around how the financial aid office works, what kinds of things are available, and how to make the best use of the financial aid office. I will say that they do now provide advisors so that your student will have the same person, assuming they don't leave the university, for their 4 years, and that you should work that relationship in the same way that you will work your relationship with your college advisor or your school advisor, whether you're in Wharton or the college or engineering. The way that you will have that relationship with your GF, who will be there to have your back, and even the Africana advisor that you have moving forward, because they really are there to help you, and they can really make sure that you get what you need. It's important for parents to understand what students can do on their own, but what parents need to be involved in and how to work together. So we're really excited to offer that, because I would say that more than half of the challenges that students bring to me, both during this week and during the first couple of years of college, tend to be related to financial aid. So we want to be proactive about that. The other thing is, if you are a student with a learning challenge and typically have had accommodations in high school, you should have gotten some information about how to start the process to have those accommodations while you're here at the university. It's very important to do the best you can to have that stuff set up before classes start. I teach a large fall social statistics course with quizzes, and if I haven't gotten the email from the appropriate office and a student is really supposed to be getting extra time, it can be very stress-inducing for the student, but also not all professors will take a student's word for it and go ahead and give them the extra time until that is set up. There's a lot of demand on the office. We'll have somebody come and talk to the students during the week as a group, and it will be up to the students themselves, hopefully with a little push from parents, to get that process started, because they do want to help to make sure that you're set up for those things. I also learned that in the math classes, for example, if a student has extra time, they don't get to just stay in a room in the math department. You have to make an appointment and be in another place. So it really is important to get those things set up. There is funding available for testing for students who need financial aid assistance in order to have the evaluation done to determine whether or not you're eligible for accommodations. Weingarten also has a division for learning resources, and they provide all kinds of assistance and information. And this is one of the things that your tuition dollars is paying for. So there are all kinds of things that you're paying for one way or another while you're here that students take advantage of to help them succeed. So the other thing I will say before I move on is that if you are signing up for calculus, chemistry, physics, biology, Econ 1, sign up for the tutor before classes start, because by the time you get a test back, the tutors are gone, because the students who are on top of things sign up immediately. They may not need the tutors, but the tutors' time has been taken up. Again, your tuition dollars pay for all of these things, and we all get help one way or another while we're here. I think that bit about the zero tolerance, the curfew, the name tags, all of that, I know you all are grown and you're excited to be grown and to get out there and feel like you're grown, but you're in a weird no man's land right now, because In some ways, you are out of your parents' care because you're here, but you are not quite full students of the university. So if something goes south, it's on me. Like, personally me, okay? I am responsible for all of you for the week. So we do our best, and I don't think we've ever had to call a parent, but I will if you're out of pocket. So yes, marijuana is decriminalized in Philadelphia. It is not legal, and it is not appropriate on this campus, even once you're a student, okay? You're all underage, so there should be no drinking, okay? I get it. I know that you'll come back in August, and some of you may be going to those parties and drinking and doing those things, but you won't be my responsibility then. I would still suggest you wait because there's plenty of time, but you know, we get it. So the name tags, again, it's as much so that we know from wherever who you are, but it's also how you get to know each other's names. It's how we get to know your names. And it's a way to build community, because the longer anybody is out of pocket, the longer you wear the name tags. That's kind of how it works. Okay, and so what I have said for the last 12 years, and I will say it again today, is that what I want for each of your children in this experience, but also for as long as they are here at the University of Pennsylvania, is what I would want for one of my own children. And so we work extremely hard to make sure that they feel that this place is theirs, that they have access to any and everything that is available to them while they are here. They know how to ask, they know where to go, and know that if you don't know, if I don't already know, I know who to call to find out. So far there has been no problem that we couldn't fix, no opportunity that we haven't been able to help make available to a student, and we want to make sure that that stays the case. And you will work very, very hard this week. This week will look more like midterms. I'm not going to shame you and ask how many of you read everything, because after 12 years and never more than 5 students raising their hands, it's just really, I'm probably not doing you guys a favor by making you feel embarrassed that way. What we hope, though, is that this is the last time that you do not take your professor at his or her or their word when they say read before class. Because by Friday, you will understand what it feels like when you don't, okay? This will feel more like midterms week when you haven't been keeping up with things. Then it should feel like a regular week of classes, okay? So, with all of that said, I want to answer a few questions, and John's going to tell me, apparently, if there are questions.
We don't have any yet, but if
okay.
people, if anybody in the live stream has questions, feel free to enter them into the chat, and we'll get them to Dr. Charles that way.
Parents and students can ask questions. Yes? Yeah.
Don't lose it.
Don't lose it. Don't lose your name tag, and don't lose whatever you need to get into your room. Okay.
The only time it comes from around your neck is in your bedroom.
Yeah.
So if you leave out of your room, it needs to be around your neck.
But let's say hypothetically, somehow, I don't know, you're really dancing hard at the barbecue on Wednesday, and for some reason you're still wearing them on Wednesday, and you lose your, yeah, I would immediately get in touch with your GF. You want to get to them before they find you without your name tag. Okay, and that would be a general kind of thing. If you're feeling like, you know, there's an assignment due and you're feeling like you're going to be a little late, or you know you overslept and you're going to be late to class, be proactive. Text your GF and your TA and say, I'm on my way. Don't let them have to come find you. Okay? Other questions? Yes? Okay. Okay, look.
What schedule are you looking at? What schedule are you looking at?
Let us worry about that, okay? We are aware of all of that. That's all I'm going to say. We will make sure that you will finally be free to move about the city. Still with the curfew. I have no idea. Maybe, I don't know. She's got some information.
I don't know where she got that information.
Other questions? No questions. How many California people do we have here? Where in California? Okay. Yeah. Esiaku gets all excited about Sacramento. We went to high school in the same school district many decades apart, but I do not rep Sacramento ever. So anyway, we love Esiaku. We do not love Sacramento. All right, so there are no other questions. As I said, we have never had to call a parent. There's a question. I'm sorry? I imagine that what's going to happen in the workshop is going to be a little bit more general. However, my understanding is that we should have people from financial aid here in the evenings. Afternoon, okay. There will be time where individuals who have financial aid questions that are specific to their packages will be able to get help, and that person will be able to look at whatever it is that you have. And if for some reason that doesn't happen during the week, you can let me know that there's something that you need help with, and we can figure out how to make sure that you can do that while you're wherever you go after you leave here. I know some folks stay here, but we'll make sure you get help. Okay? Yes. Okay, we've never given an F. That's the other thing. That is the pressure I will put on you. Nobody has ever not finished, okay? We have a 32-year perfect record. Occasionally, we've had a student who was finishing off a paper during the closing ceremony on Friday, but they finished. Okay? So, I need y'all to finish. It does not have to be pretty. No one will ever see what the letter grade might have been, and this is a learning experience. So remember when you started middle school, after being at the top of the heap in elementary school, and you knew how everything worked, and you were probably running the place, and you started middle school, and it got harder, and you had to learn everything all over again. And then you got to 8th grade, and again, you were running the place. And you started high school in 9th grade, and they put on even more work, and there's more pressure because now there are AP courses and SATs and all of this stuff, and you had to learn it all over again. And then you got to be seniors, and y'all were running the place. And you're walking around, I'm going to Penn, I'm great. And now you all are freshmen again. Okay? So, the workload is going to ratchet up again. Some of you are going to think it's a good idea to take calculus, chemistry, and econ first semester, freshman year. It's really not prudent. I can't make you not do that, but I can tell you that those classes will be their second semester, and you could spread them out a little bit, even if you want to be pre-med and even if you want to be PPE, all of those things will still be there. The workload will ratchet up again. You're going to have to learn your way around. Some of you are living in dorms with roommates where if you put your arms out from your beds, you can hold hands. And you haven't had to do that before. And you're going to have to find clubs, and whatever identities you had in high school, you may be forging new identities here. So there is more than what happens in your classroom that is part of adjusting to being on a college campus freshman year. You don't have your parents to make sure nagging you about getting your work done, because you cannot answer that phone call or that text if you feel like you don't want to answer. I don't recommend it, but it happens. You know, you can come and go as you please, and so it will literally be on you to make sure you get your studying done. Don't think that we don't notice when you don't come to class, because we do. And so there's a lot that happens during that first year. This is to help you kind of start to figure out, you'll start to figure out kind of what are the things that are going to be big for you in your transition. But you also will already have friends. You will already have upperclassmen that you know and know you. You'll have graduate fellows who you can talk to if you feel like your Africana faculty are just old and don't understand. But you have faculty as well. You have my great staff from the Center for Africana Studies to help you navigate that space, but also make sure that you handle your business. Because that's really what we're here for, and we know that all of you can do that. So this is probably the last time that I will be able to convince you, don't worry about the letter grade, worry about the learning and the community and how to navigate asking questions, challenging ideas. You won't always agree with the professor at the front of your class, and you don't have to. But learn how to navigate that. You won't agree with your classmates all the time. Y'all won't agree with each other all the time. And that's okay. But we can do all of that and still have each other's backs and have a great experience. And as I said, you have plenty of time to worry about the grades. Here, just worry about putting in the work and asking questions. So, you know, if you're embarrassed to ask your professor a question because you think you'll sound stupid, or you think you don't want them to know that you didn't really do all of the reading, we know. But, you know, you don't want to do that. Your TAs, they're the people you talk to. When you're behind and you need to know what not to read or what I can get away with not reading, ask your TAs. So, we don't expect you to be perfect. We just expect you to be your best. And I'm getting the timeout sign. So, but she's gonna, yes.
So, will there be assistants to help these kids decide on their first semester classes?
Well, they've already gone. Yeah, right. So they've already gone through advanced registration. They had to talk to their pre-major advisor to get the hold lifted to be able to register for any courses, but there's a lot of churn. So students shop classes during the first few days, but even now they'll start to move around. And so what usually happens is that they talk to each other, they'll talk to Nadia and the other upperclassmen who've already taken certain classes and get some advice that way. They'll talk to their GFs, and there'll be some movement. And then even once class starts, the first 2 or 3 weeks of class, students are moving in and out. So there's plenty of time to change their mind. And in the math classes, if they signed up for 104, there's an opportunity for an assessment where you might decide, you know what, I should probably drop down to 103. That's built into the structure of the calculus classes as well. Okay, so I'll be around all week. I'm really excited to have you here. As I said, you're going to have a blast. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to be looking like true Penn students coming to class in pajamas on Thursday. Just stay awake and have a great time. Thank you.
All right, so I just want to let everyone know what we're going to do next. Now is the moment that we're going to separate, and you're going to be able to say goodbye to your parents. You want to do that right now? Yeah. So the students, we are going to head over to lunch. What you're going to do is you're going to meet up with your mentor or your graduate fellow that you've been assigned, and they're going to walk you to Hill College House, where they're going to talk to you about the itinerary and maybe answer any questions that you have and didn't want to ask at this particular moment. And then the parents are going to stay here for the financial aid workshop. Seminar. It's from 12:15 to 1:15 in this rooftop lounge. And there are waters over here in case if you would like any water. We also have a gift for each family over there on the table. Gail, are you going to maybe pass them out? Are you going to be able to pass them? Okay, so you can, if you're, we have Ta-Nehisi Coates, which was 12 years? 8 years of power, and I believe a mug in there. So just something to remember, Africana Studies program, Summer Institute by. All right. So students, say bye, give hugs, love, and meet your GFs.
That's good. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for staying for our Parent Financial Aid Workshop. We'll get started now. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Stephanie Brocklehurst, who is the Assistant Director of Financial Aid and Student Financial Services. She'll be here to lead this afternoon's workshop, and Ms. Brocklehurst will entertain questions after her presentation from the on-site audience as well as our live stream audience. So please join me in welcoming Mrs. Brocklehurst. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. So good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? It's a beautiful day on this amazing rooftop lounge. This is amazing. So, financial aid, it's so much fun, right? Get to talk about money, how much it's gonna cost, how you're gonna pay for it. So a little background. So I also have one of our counselors here, Jody Wagner. So she's joining us as well. So just a little background. I've been in financial aid for, we'll say 10 plus some years. As Gail said, I'm Assistant Director of Undergraduate Aid. We have in our office approximately 12 to 15 counselors for the university. So we handle all of the university's financial aid. So majority of you, your students are already here. Congratulations, first of all, that they are accepted at Penn and have become a member of the Penn family, so welcome. So the majority of you, obviously, who have applied for financial aid are already familiar with the process. So I'm just kind of going to briefly go over that. So with Penn, we are what's called a need-based aid. There's merit-based and there's need-based, but Penn is a need-based, where aid is awarded to students on the basis of financial need, and every year it's reevaluated by filling out the forms being the FAFSA, which is a free application for student aid, the CSS College Board Profile, the Penn Financial Aid Supplement, as well as submitting your, whichever year is required, your federal tax returns and W-2s. Need will vary based on the cost of attendance of the school. And the determination of need could be based on the FAFSA, the profile, and the institutional application, as I had stated. So the timeline for the aid application, again, most of you have already gone through this process. So there are specific deadlines, and you really have to be aware of those deadlines, specifically because some aid, so any of you that are Pennsylvania residents would be eligible, possibly eligible for the Pennsylvania State Grant. So there is a deadline in order to fill out in order to be eligible for that state grant. So the deadline in order to do that is May 1st. But again, all this information is usually on our website, but just be aware of the deadlines are there. We have them there for a reason. It's to help the students to be able to have the most eligibility as possible for them, okay? You have to bear with me here. Like 2 presentations I'm going off of here. So, so the next thing I wanted to kind of go about, you guys all have got that handout on the student aid reference sheet. So this kind of goes along with how exactly can you pay for your child's education. So the majority of this is all federal aid, okay? So those of you that have financial aid, there is the Penn Grant, if you're eligible for the Penn Grant, which is the institution's money. And then there's going to be what you have is the Parental Contribution, or most of you have probably seen the EFC, which is the Estimated Family Contribution. So what that essentially means is that's what, based off of our determination from the FAFSA and the profile and everything, that's what we feel that you can contribute based off all of those factors towards your child's education per year, okay? How do you pay for that? We have the Penn payment plan. You can pay all up front. We have a prepayment plan for all 4 years. So you're stuck in that year that you pay, you can pay all 4 years up front. The Penn payment plan is 4 monthly payments that you would have to sign up for per term. We also have, so if you can't do any cash payments, then there's these options, which are the federal monies. So anybody that fills out the FAFSA is automatically eligible for a loan. But there's also there's the subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So on the first sheet, you'll just see the different, I'll just kind of go over this with you, just different levels. So all first years are eligible for up to $3,500 for a subsidized loan. Subsidized meaning the interest is paid for you while you're in school. The unsubsidized loan of $2,000 they could be eligible for. The interest starts accruing as soon as the money is dispersed to the school, because all of these monies will be dispersed directly to the school. So the interest starts and will continue to accrue throughout that time. So the loans are great because I know nobody really wants to take out loans, and Penn's really big on trying not to do loans. However, sometimes it is necessary. But it's great for the students because a lot of these students coming in, they have no credit. They have nothing established. And these students' loans are great for them to start their credit and establish their credit. And then you as parents can help maybe pay for it along the line over the months for them too. So the loan's $3,500, $2,000, so you're looking at $5,500 for the first year, which isn't too much, but again, it's something that the students can contribute towards their education. And going on further, there's also there's the Parent Plus loan, which is something that you guys can contribute to. But then there's also additional grants. Pell Grant, which is the maximum is $6,095 this year. The Pell Grant is based off of the EFC score. So the lower the score, the higher the grant. Okay? And again, these are all just federal funds that are available just by filling out the FAFSA. There's also the SEOG grant, which is a Supplemental Education Opportunities Grant. That is anywhere from $0 to up to $4,000 per year. There's also the work study. The work study seems to be a lot of questions that we get. So on your award notification, you see what you're awarded, and there's the parental contribution, and then there's the work study component. So what the work study is what I always like to say and makes sense is it's kind of like the student's skin in the game. It's their opportunity to earn money towards their education if they choose to. So they can get a job that's a regular job, but it's specifically towards that work study. So how it works is they get paid and we get a match. But ultimately, they get a paycheck, they get the money, so they get to choose what they use it for. It could be just for some expenses, it could be some other stuff, but it's not something that's billable on their account. So you'll never see it billed on their account. Okay? But what happens is, returning undergraduates right now are $4,000 limit. So they can earn $4,000 in a federal work study job. Once they hit that $4,000 mark, then they're not eligible for anything further. But that means that they can earn up to that amount. Now we also know that most students coming in, especially the first year, they have to get acclimated. Some of them are coming from out of town, out of state. Maybe you don't want to work for the first semester, and that's fine. You don't have to. Some students don't work at all. Some students work just in the second semester. But again, it's great for the students because they get to earn their own money to go towards their education. Okay? So that's something that is great if you do have it in your award letter for the students to be able to use. So one of the other items that I wanted to just kind of go over was, as I had said, the billable items, is the cost of attendance. Because again, that's another question that we really get. So for the undergraduate students right now, the full cost of attendance is $75,303 for the year. Okay? Same thing, roll my eyes, like, wow, it's a lot of money. But what does that cost? So when you get your actual bill, you're not going to see a bill for $75,303. You're going to see a bill for the tuition, for the fees. If they're on campus, you'll see the housing. If they're in dining, you'll see dining. You're not going to see the other components. So the other components that are built into the budget you'll have is personal expenses, transportation, and books and supplies. So what we call those are indirect costs. So you're not going to see that billed. You're going to see the tuition, fees, housing, and dining billed on your account. So when you say, okay, my parental contribution is $10,000, $5,000 per semester, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually going to have to pay Penn $5,000. So we'll go off of that, $5,000 for the fall. But when your bill comes out, you only have to owe $2,000. So you have to pay Penn $2,000. Well, where's that other $3,000 from the parental contribution? That is part of the component of the cost of attendance. Some of that could be the books, the personal expenses, the transportation, some of the other items that are included in that cost of attendance. Okay, because that seems to be a lot of confusion that we get. Well, I can't afford to pay $15,000, and we understand that, but you may not have to. So again, if we go off of, now all freshmen are required to be on campus. So if we go, say, for like a junior who's off campus, well, they're not going to be charged on their account housing, but they still have to pay for it. So that, again, that's where the parental and family contribution come from. So instead of paying Penn the direct money, you're now paying the rent, or the student's paying the rent. But when we include it in the budget, we include a certain amount, but their rent might be lower, but we're still including that amount, and that's what you're being awarded on, is that full amount. Okay, so you're not losing out on money, you're actually gaining money, especially if they can find a place that's cheaper than what the actual cost is that we have on the cost of attendance. Okay. I think that might be that. I mean, the only other thing I really wanted to go off of is, again, every year you have to submit the financial aid documents. You have to fill out the FAFSA, you have to fill out the profile, and you have to submit the tax returns to us. Being Penn, we have a lot of money that we can award, which is fantastic. But we encourage all students and parents to make appointments with their counselors, to walk in, to call us. We don't bite. So, you know, I know it's very nerve-wracking talking about how much you make and how much you don't make, or how much you can afford and how much you can't afford. But we're professionals, and we've been doing this, and we love what we do. And again, being at Penn, we have the ability to be able to help a lot more than most schools probably could, which is a great benefit. And I mean, one of the things that I love about working at Penn is that we have that ability to do that. So I thank you for your time. Like I said, I wasn't planning on talking for an hour. I probably could, but I'm not going to. So yeah, if we have any questions. Yes, sir.
Regarding the work study.
Yes.
Does Penn have do different jobs have different pay rates?
Yes.
Depending on how many hours. To your point, $3,000 award, $3,000 for earning, and then it stops. Can you continue to work if you were working that same job with the increments, or if you have to turn it down?
So good question. So there are different rates. So depending, there's a specific pool for federal work study, because that job has to abide by the federal work study rules and regulations. So you could have, so what I'll say first off is anybody that's on a Penn job or work study is limited to 20 hours a week. We won't let them work any more than that, because your education is what's important. That's what you need to concentrate on. So the work study jobs can range anywhere from the minimum wage all the way up to $15 an hour. So you could have somebody, your student, that could work 2 hours a week at $15 an hour. That's good. Or you can work, 20 hours at $8.50 an hour. Once they hit, so the federal work study, you're offered that amount. Once you hit that amount, then you can't work at that specific job unless that job states, I'm going to be a Penn job. So there's work study, there's non-work study, and there's Penn job. So once your students, I think they start listing them in August, so they can go to our website, to the SFS UPenn, and click on student employment. There's a laundry list of jobs available. They could be a teaching assistant, they could work at 1920 Commons, and there's so many available jobs. They could also, a lot of the federal work studies also might be volunteer work, but they get paid for it.
Are any of the jobs specifically linked to disciplines? So there's an education job for folks who are in education college, working in labs for science.
Absolutely, yes. So again, if it's going to be a federal work study job, it has to be approved. So we will have professors calling saying, I have this student and I have this job. Does it qualify for federal work study and what do I have to do? And then John Rudolph, who's our manager of student employment, will go through what he needs to do and say, yes, it is, or no, it's not. So again, it's just a matter, are we pulling from the work study pool? Are we pulling from the Penn job pool? Or are we pulling from the non-work study pool? So it's just a matter of, how it's delegated within those. You're welcome.
This question.
Sure.
The Penn jobs, I presume there are limits to how much a student can earn from a Penn job. Is that
Right. Well, so not as far as earning, but they're limited to 20 hours a week.
I see.
Right.
So the limit is on the hours, not on the compensation.
Right. Well, so the Penn job still has to be in the award. So whereas the federal work study, you have 3,200, like that's all you're eligible for. Whereas Penn job, when we do your award and you have 5,000 eligible, then we'll give you the 5,000.
Right. And the federal is based off FAFSA?
Correct.
Okay, but Penn is not.
Correct.
Okay.
That's why that one can go up slightly. Yes. Yes. Correct, in the summer, yes, and they can be eligible for work study in the summer as well. Yes, thank you, Gail. Yes, ma'am.
So work study is the federal program?
The federal work study, correct.
So that is in your grant, that is a federal program? And that is part of your...
Part of the financial aid award, correct. Correct. Sure. Sorry. Yes, go right ahead, sir. So you can apply for the loans essentially anytime throughout the academic year. You just have to do it before the end of the academic year in the spring. So if you can start applying for the loans now, nothing's going to be dispersed until the student actually starts though. So you can go onto the Penn loan system and apply for it. If you go through the first semester and then the second semester you want the loan, you can do that as well. So you're not limited to the time. So you can apply in this, prior to the academic year or even during the academic year if need be. Okay, yes, sir. Sure.
On the work study, let's say the student earns over the course of a year $500.
Okay.
Now, does the money get paid to Penn, or does the money get paid to the student and then Penn matches that?
So the student gets a paycheck, just like they would, any other job. They get a paycheck, they earn it, it goes to them. So then what we do is we state $3,500 is what we allow. And then the student earns $500, and then we deduct $500 out of what the contribution is. So now that we know they only have $3,000 available. So what happens is again, it's a component that's there for the student if they need it. If they don't need it, then it just it essentially just goes away. It's not gonna hurt them. But the option that we do allow for the work study is if they start working or they only work in the second semester, but they need that money, they can convert that into a loan and give them more eligibility for money. We can't convert it into a grant, but we can convert it into a loan for them. So the reason we do that is, again, so some students they just can't work. It depends on what program they're in, or, again, freshmen coming in, I can't work that much, but I need that money. I don't have enough for books, or I don't have enough for transportation, or I don't have enough for my personal expenses, and mom and dad are strapped because they've already paid their part. Well, here's that component for you, and like I said, it's skin in the game, so you can earn it, or you can convert it into a loan and earn it, but you're still earning it in one way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we deduct it from what their contribution is, and then they earn it. So again, if they earn $500, then there's only $3,000 left, and they can convert the $3,000, but not the full $3,500. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So as far as the outside scholarships go, so what we do is any monies that come in from an outside scholarship or the specific one that you're speaking about, first what it does is it reduces the student's contribution. So there's the parent contribution, student contribution, family contribution. But what it does is anything over and above the student contribution, we take that away first. Then we take away the work study. Unfortunately, outside scholarships do not reduce the parental contribution. So it takes the student contribution, right, darn, we're still working on that. Unfortunately, it's an Ivy policy right now. All the Ivies have been trying to work at, and we've been pushing to be like, let's change this up, right? So student contribution zeroes it out, then the work study, it zeroes it out. And if it's over and above that, then we reallocate the Penn grant. So we will take the monies from the outside scholarship and just reduce the Penn grant. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Sure. The parental contribution does not get reduced. So if you have a student contribution of $3,000 and a parental contribution of $10,000 and a work study of $3,000, what's that? Correct. Then $3,000 work study, $3,000 student contribution. That's $6,000, and then the remaining 40. Right. Thank you. 42 gets taken out of the Penn grant and reallocated. Correct. So it will not. If you have a parent contribution of $50,000, it will not touch the parental contribution. So we reallocate and we take those funds and put it onto the student and put the remaining Penn grant monies back into the Penn grant pool. Right. Yes, sir.
So there's a payment that's due the end of July.
Correct.
Is that what it looks like? It might be about the first semester's family contribution. Is that what that represents?
So usually, yeah. So the parental contribution, yeah. So you'll get billed in the fall and in the spring. Majority for freshmen because you're required to be on campus and the meal plan. So you're going to see the highest cost. So usually for first year students, the parental contribution essentially is split in half. So whatever that bill is essentially should be the half of your parental contribution. Correct. Correct. You have 4 months. So the Penn payment plan, the deadline was July 10th to sign up for that. So you can't sign up for the Penn payment plan for the fall, but you'll be able to sign up for the spring term in October. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's a great question. Thank you. We always like to put the responsibility on the student as much as we possibly can. However, we do understand and we are realistic in the fact that, parents are very much involved and majority of the time the money's coming from the parents. So there are privacy settings though, what's called a FERPA, which is the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So when you go onto your Penn and Touch and you click on security, you have to allow us to be able to talk to your parents for academic and for financial. If they're not listed on there and mom calls in, sorry mom, I can't talk to you. Okay, so that's very important that you make sure students sign up and parents make sure your students sign up so when you do call we can talk to you. FERPA, F-E-R-P-A. Yeah, so when they log on to the Penn and Touch and they'll go to privacy settings and it'll give you the step-by-step on how to sign up for that. And there's two separate ones. There's academic and financial. which is completely different than having access to pen pay to be able to pay the bill. That's a different setting. Okay, yes, I'm sorry. So what happens is if it's not paid by July 30th, you will incur a 1.5% late fee on the bill. The student is at risk of being put on a financial hold. And what that financial hold will do will prevent them from registering for the next semester. It's not going to take them out of class. It's not going to stop them from going to class and being, a student at Penn. It's a warning, essentially, of you have a bill, you've gotten a late fee, let's get this squared away. And if there's issues or problems, that's what we're here for, is that we can help you out or, do what we need to do to help pay the bill, so that that doesn't happen for them. So there's not necessarily a grace period. The due date is July 30th, and if it's not paid by then, again, there's a 1.5% late fee, and then it'll be due at the end of August, and then another 1.5% late fee. So unfortunately it'll just keep adding up the late fees. But we're not gonna just stop and say, okay, well, the bill's not paid, sorry, you're out. We're not gonna do that, and we can't do that. What's gonna happen is when the registration opens for students to register for the classes in spring, that's when it's gonna be a problem. Okay, because they're gonna be put on a financial hold. Any balance over $1,000, a student is put on financial hold. Okay, and then that's when we get the panic phone calls. But if you know that there's an issue, please call us up. We'll do what we can to help out. Okay? Correct. Yes, sir.
So in that situation, could a student take out loans, sign up for loans, and that would be able to cover the gap?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, and that's essentially what the loans are there for. So your package, you know what your parental contribution is, you're getting the Penn grant. We're not packaging you with loan. You know what the contribution is going to be. So if you can, again, if your contribution is $10,000, I know I can only do $5,000. Guess what? Then the student's got to take out $5,000 in a loan. Absolutely. That the loans and everything are definitely a gap funding to help them out. One more. Correct. It's every month. Yep. Correct. Correct. To be able to do the payment plan for the spring. Correct. Correct. Is it November? I think is October, November. Correct. Correct. Okay, got it. I think I saw somebody over. No? Okay. Yes, sir.
Just for clarity, you mentioned the students' contribution. Did you say from a work study to a loan?
So work study can be converted from work study to a loan if need be. Correct. Correct. Mm-hmm. So yes and no. So what we do is we separate it out between a student contribution, a parental contribution, and an overall family contribution. Correct. The student is as far as a federal loan for the direct subsidized, unsubsidized loan, a freshman is limited to $5,500 on what they're eligible for, just straight off the bat, no credit check, no anything. Because they filled out the FAFSA, they're eligible for up to $5,500. It depends. So you can be eligible for up to $3,500 of a subsidized and $2,000 unsubsidized. So the eligibility for that is going to be based off of your EFC from the FAFSA. So you could be, all $5,500 could be unsubsidized. Open-ended meaning, it's a 10-year loan. I'm sorry, you're not locked into? No, you're not. No, it starts off as a 10-year loan. Right, you can pay it off early, absolutely, yes. And there's a 6-month grace period after graduation to have to start making payments. Yes, you will see it on your billing as a credit. Yes. Yeah, if you do apply for the loan and you want the loan, then yes, you will see that on the bill. Yes.
So you're saying not everyone really qualifies for the unsubsidized?
For the subsidized. Right. So every student is eligible for $5,500 as a freshman, regardless. You fill out the FAFSA. If your EFC is 0 or your EFC is $1 million, you're eligible for $5,500. What we have to look at is whether or not out of that $5,500, are you eligible for up to $3,500 in subsidized. So you have some students that, okay, you know what, I am eligible for $3,500 subsidized. I just want the subsidized. Don't give me the unsubsidized. And you have that option to do that.
So if your child has work study,
Mm-hmm.
does that work study get converted to subsidized?
So that work study can be converted to loan, whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized. So again, so you have, right, because you have $5,500 eligible as a freshman. So if you have $3,000 in work study and $2,000 in a student contribution, there's $5,000. But if you have $4,000 in work study and $3,000 in a student contribution, then you can't use all of that. You're only going to be eligible for the $55,000.
Balance of the $4,500, which the parent is responsible for. How is the parent? How does the parent feature in the $10,000 loan? Is the parent now invited to show credits or things like that? You know, to be able to be granted the $4,500.
So I'm not quite sure I understand. So the balance of $4,500 as far as a loan? Right.
And you said the student could be granted $5,500 without checking the credit.
Correct.
So the balance of the $4,500, the parent will have to show credit to be granted, or is just the sole responsibility of the parent to come up with the loan separately?
So if you're going that route what you're stating, the $4,500, how to get that? You have the option of, so there's a Parent Plus loan that does require a credit check, but the Parent Plus loan is a federal loan. So the credit check isn't as, their criteria is a little bit lower. So yes, there's going to be a credit check for the Federal Direct Plus loan. You could also look at, there's alternative loans, which, are just, there's Sallie Mae, there's Discover, there's Wells Fargo, there's Citizens. We have a list on our website of historically what some students have used. So you can look at that. Those interest rates and that credit check are going to be based off of what they require. The Parent Plus loan through the federal government is different. Okay, so it all depends on how you want to go that route. If you want a private loan, if you want a Parent Plus loan, some parents take a home equity loan, however you need to pay for it. It's just with the student loans or the Parent Plus loan, the money comes directly to us. Yes. Correct. Yes. So the clinical fee is separate than what the health insurance is. The clinical fee is a mandatory fee for all students, and it allows the students to go to student health services. Okay. The health insurance is, again, something that's mandated for all students, whether or not you qualify for them to be under your health insurance or whether you have to get it through Penn. If you have to get it through Penn, then you will see a charge on your account. This year, the charge is $3,446 for the year. Okay? What we can do at Financial Services is we can look to see if you would qualify for any of that to be covered. There's certain criteria and certain, we have to look at the EFC, we have to look at certain components of your entire financial aid package. But we can't do anything until we actually see the charge on the bill. So if there is anything that we can do, if there is any grant coverage, if there is any loan coverage, then we can add that into the cost of attendance, into the budget, and help with that cost. So you have to check with Health Services because they have to, and Gail, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have to go to Health Services and they have to apply to make sure that their coverage is equivalent or better than Penn's health insurance, correct? Okay. Yeah, I would double check on going to Health Services on that one. I'm not 100% sure, but that's my understanding is you either have your own insurance that's covered or you have Penn's insurance. But, okay, some students have, but that might be returning. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. You're fine. I'm still enjoying the view, so go ahead. Sure. Mm-hmm. No, you're right. There's going to be a balance because, yes, you can get this outside scholarship, but then it's going to wipe out your work study, and now you can't work and work study. But you could still just get a regular Penn job. You just can't get a federal work study job that's a component of your. Mm-hmm. In an outside scholarship, in work study. Okay, good. Okay. She has 5,000 in work study. You guys are going to match that 5,000. She still earns 5,000. Correct. But yet you guys are going to wipe out that 5,000 allotted award given to her. Correct. So she still earns a paycheck, but yet that 5,000 that she's expected to contribute as a student contribution is wiped out, right? So so yes and no, but there's a student contribution and there's a work study. There's two different components. So what you might see, it's student contributions or summer savings. Okay, you might see it as. The work study is different. So you have 5,000, we'll usually have 5,000 in work study, 3,000 in student contribution. So she gets an $8,000 scholarship, then that wipes out both of them. If she gets a $3,000 scholarship, she keeps her 5,000 work study, but she loses her 3,000 student contribution, which essentially is the family contribution, because the student and the parent is the full family contribution, but she still keeps her work study. But then if she gets another scholarship over and above that amount, then it cuts into the work study. Okay. I mean, if you want, we can talk, yeah. Okay. Yes, sir.
Only benefit to that scenario that I see
Right. Yes. From the award notification, right. So now it's wiped out. Correct. Correct. Yes? Sure. Mm-hmm. I do, and give me 1 second. I'm actually going to pull it right up, and I'm going to read it directly from the site. So, tuition and fees are fixed costs. These mandatory fees include the general fee, educational technology fee, and the student health clinical fee. So, wait, where? So, again, so that clinical fee is, where is it? Just bear with me just 1 second here. Right, that's different, yeah. So again, so the clinical fee allows the student, so regardless on whether or not they have pet insurance or your insurance, that clinical fee allows them to go to student health services. Say they have the flu. They can go to student health services and they can go there. There might be a slight copay, but it's not like they're going to go to, one of the health clinics and pay $50 or $100. They have the ability to use Penn's student health services. I think, and that's what I was looking for, and again, I'm not 100% sure, they can also access the gyms. There might, again, don't quote me, there might be a small fee for that, but that allows them as well. To do that. So again, that's just, it's a fee that all students are charged, so they have access to student health services for Penn. It is per semester. I'm sorry, if there's any credits? Yes, you can reach out to us or student accounts, depending on what it is. So yes, that's actually what I'm looking at. So on our website, if you go to the financial aid website, the sfs.upenn, and easiest thing to do is go to the search and type in cost of attendance, and it gives you a breakdown of what the components are. You can log on to Penn and Touch and look at your bill to see what your statement is, to see what all those charges are per semester. For the bill, it's Penn Pay. Yeah, it's through TouchNet, which is Penn and Touch or Penn Pay. It's kind of it's all, you can access everything really all. Yes. Imagine us, we have to go to every different type of screen to try and just find some information too. Did you have another? Or are you okay? Okay. All right. Any other questions? And again, feel free, once you're on the FERPA form, okay, make sure you're in the FERPA form. But you can absolutely call in and we can schedule appointments, and if you wanted to come in and talk specifically. FERPA. FERPA, Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's basically the HIPAA form of financial aid. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you do have assigned a counselor based essentially, right now it's based off of your alphabet. So when they log into your Penn and Touch, when they look at like their academic calendar on the bottom right, it states who your counselor is. And it actually have a link that you can click on the counselor's name and you can email them directly. But again, if you can't get a hold of just your direct counselor, we can all help. We all are very knowledgeable. We have walk-in hours. You can just walk in, or you can schedule a direct appointment with your counselor. Okay? Well, thank you very much for your time. You guys kept me on my toes, too, with all these questions. Thank you.